Hi guys, this is Samuel Brown once again, your superstar host for the Money Leadership podcast, a very fantastic framing of the SAGSC brand. And we're back again to review leadership for the week, just like we did last time. And very excited to be back here. Last week we had Mr. Felix Odofin, still very much recovering from the value he shared, and it's amazing we're going to be doing this tonight again. Shout out to everyone at the SAGSC brand. Amazing stuff, doing fantastic things behind the scene, ensuring that the products getting the desired results. Planning, strategizing, and executing. Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. And of course, a shout out to our fans, shout out to our listeners across 4 continents basically at the moment. I think I'll be looking forward to making it 5, then 6, then of course 7 at the end of the day. Thank you so much. Your participation in this very podcast has been one of the major reasons we are actually successful, and we hope we keep doing this together. So this is an education-based podcast, like I've always said before, and it is your responsibility, talking to everyone listening now, to carry out your own research. Okay, whatever you learn from this podcast, you need to do your research. Okay, and before applying them. So whatever you get from this podcast, you put it to use and you get good results. Fantastic, happy for you. Otherwise, we are not in any way liable for any issue that arise. Maybe let me not say bad result from what you applied to, because you cannot really ascertain and determine how effectively you were able to process the message, process the wisdom that was shared here. So that is why we are giving at least the announcement and disclaimers. Do your own research. If you have questions, of course, use the question. Use the question tab, and of course, drop your questions, and it will be responded to as soon as possible. So once again, this is the Money Leadership podcast, and we basically focus our attention on reviewing leadership across organizations every blessed week. All right, from the political space to the business space to the technology space to whatever space, we focused on reviewing leadership. We pick one particular lesson and we review it for the week, and I'm very certain that is very useful to everyone. That is why it's called the Money Leadership podcast, because whatever lessons you get, it is very useful for you. If as a brand and as an organization, if you have money, if you don't have money, and if you're not in need of money, these leadership lessons are very universal, and I hope tonight's session will be a blast. All right, guys. So what are basically my leadership lessons for the week? I have two. I think I jotted down some points. Two basically leadership lessons for the week, and the first one here is that politics, is not leadership, and the second one here is about patriotism. Patriotism, a key ingredient for building brands, long-lasting brands. All right. So the first one is about politics not being leadership. There's a general phenomenon going around now. People easily, kind of ascribe political heavyweights as the specimen for good or bad leadership. It doesn't really do more justice to the team leadership itself. Personally, I describe and define leadership as an avenue, an opportunity, an ability, as the case may be, for someone to unleash potentials of self and of others. All right. If you are able to maximize what you have, put yourself to make yourself the best you can be at every point in time, do the same for others, then of course you are a leader, and that's how leadership is supposed to be for me. So limiting to the political space is a very big error that I honestly is nauseating for me as a person. So that's what I want to tell you why politics is not leadership. The leadership is just a career path itself. All right, leadership space is a career path itself, just like the political space. These are career paths. You have other career paths like the academic career paths, where people climb the ladder to become professor and professor emeritus. I think that's the highest. Okay, so there is also career path for doctors. They climb so up to become consultants, in the sectors. Likewise, for the accounting sectors, there are different high levels, even the engineering sector, the education sector, for those that are into teaching. I think I just explained that about the professors and others. And can of course talk about the religious sector too. People climb up the ladder to become general overseers or different names, even the Pope, as the case may be. The Pope is I think that's for the Catholic, for those in Catholic and those in Pentecostal. Pentecostals, they basically call it GO, that's General Overseers, and those in the Catholic sector, they call it Pope. Okay, so all these different sectors are career paths, just like the political space. Of course, they can coexist, and if everybody can have influence at one point in time in these different sectors. Let's take, for instance, the religious field. Okay, in the religious field, now in these very sectors, people from these sectors can come together and form organization. And in this case, let's say a church, all right? Please, no disrespect to Christians or those who are not Christians, as the case may be. So let's say a church is formed. The church will definitely require the services of every single person from these different societies of intellectuals, like the accounting, the medical person, the medical sector, the engineering sector, so that this organization, this church, can function effectively. But at the end of the day, there's a bigger picture, and it's all pushed or moves directly to the visions of the religious body. So whatever is being done here is to create balance and bring to fulfillment whatever the visions of this religious body is. Hope you are getting my point. So likewise, the same thing for the political sector and the leadership sector. There are different brands who pride themselves. They pride themselves as leadership development brands, leadership development organizations. But at the end of the day, they need the input of these people from these different society of intellectuals to function effectively. They need accountants, they need engineers, they even need medical personnel should any of their staff fall sick. Okay, so these people can easily cohabit, but that does not mean they are the same thing. Likewise, in the political space, the biggest engine in the political space are political parties who definitely exist to grab and retain power. Okay, so let's take one of the biggest political parties in Nigeria, for example, the PDP, the People's Democratic Party. Okay, they need accountants from the accountant society. Okay, I don't know if I'm getting my point. So that they can meet their overarching big, hairy, and audacious goals of grabbing and retaining power. But at the end of the day, that remains the big picture, right? But it needs the input, like no matter the quantity of the input, but needs the input of people from this different society to get their result. Right? This is just an example of the political space, and I give an example of the leadership space. But at the end of the day, judging from my definition of leadership, every brand, every organization that's is a function of a mixture of these different intellectuals and professionals. They thrive by practicing, leadership, unleashing potentials of everyone so they can function at the maximum level and the vision of the brand or the organization is actualized. Likewise in the political space, right? So, but how is politics now different from leadership? But apart from this structure dynamics I've just explained, politics in itself is a game, okay, that is played to get to, is like politics, the political space is the sector on its own, the leadership space is the sector on its own. So when they cohabit, people play politics to get to the highest level of leadership. This may sound quite confusing, it's deeper than you can imagine, but what I want you to understand is that politics itself is not leadership. So when we see people in political space who are playing politics and we are expecting them to be exhibiting a level of leadership when they are not, we now call it that they are poor leaders. They are not poor leaders. They are just poor. They are just generally bad people. Okay, they are just generally bad people. This is a very very deep conversation. I think it deserves a masterclass, and we have to do a best of special on that. But I hope with the point I've shared thus far, you can easily understand that politics itself, even if you cannot be separated from leadership, but it is not, in any way leadership itself. Neither is leadership itself politics. All right. So the second point here is about patriotism, and it's more of like a lesson from this weekend. I kind of went down. I read a thread on Twitter, a very, very educative thread, And I did a research on it, and I found out that, okay, this trade is very, very correct and very useful. Of course, there are some very, very false trades on Twitter that you read and you are wondering. If you don't even carry out your research, you just end up you now start apologizing for sharing false information. So I had to do my research on this, and I really found out that it was true. So patriotism is more of should I say, is an involvement in show. Okay, patriotism is an involvement in the show of loyalty, and commitment to a particular set of value, right? Brand, even to humans. So if they say you are patriotic, they are saying, okay, you are showing commitment to a particular cause, right? And this particular, characteristic is needed for any brand to grow, to succeed, and to even outlast those that found them. It is necessary for people, for this patriotism as a character itself. It is needed for family sustenance, for brand sustenance, for, in fact, even for the sustenance of a vision that is collectively shared, or that is not even collectively shared, probably just your own personal vision. But if you don't exhibit patriotism towards it, you definitely will not actualize it. And I have very, very fine examples to drive home my point today. I'll just go ahead and read the trades that I got from Twitter. Okay, the first one was from Coca-Cola. If you follow me to the very end of this trade, I'll be able to show you how patriotism in itself was displayed. I'm hoping someone will see it before I do. But whatever the case is, let me just go ahead and read for you to see. Okay, the person that shared this trade is Strong Fan. And I didn't do research on his person, but I did research on his claims. And I found out that they were true. So he said Coca-Cola launched Diet Coke, a certain brand or a subsidiary of the Coca-Cola brand, in 1982, far back. And it's been 40 years, that's this year. And so people forgot that Diet Coke is the most successful beverage launch ever. That was his claim. I had to find out, and it was true. It was actually a huge risk. Here's the quick story. So here's how the story started. And yes, after the trade, this is supposed to be at the end of the trade, this Elon Musk response. But let's just go ahead and finish what he started. So the first glass of Coca-Cola was sold in 1886. The beverage company expanded rapidly over the following decades. It was until 1962 that the Coke launched its first diet beverage, and they called it Tab, as in keep tabs on your weight. You can see it from the picture here. So they called the beverage Tab, as they launched. It's just like we launched Money Mark. We had Money Business, formerly known as BBT, rebranded, and we now had Money Market. We now have this Money Leadership itself. So they launched the byproduct of the brand, and it was called Tab. So as a health craze took off in the 1970s, Tab became a huge hit. Yeah, people were very much concerned about their health with regards to being overweight, obesity, that give room for possibility of not being diabetic and every other ailment that comes with it. So while original Coca-Cola, full of sugar, owned 60% of the market, the sale of diet drinks were growing 3 times faster than the rest of the category. Amazing numbers. So Coca-Cola executives were concerned that all the brand equity it had built in the name would be lost if Tab became its biggest money maker. Right, we are going there now. So in 1980, a secret team with Coca-Cola went to work on Diet Coke. It was not called Diet Coke then anyway. The drink would cannibalize Tab, but the word Coke was in the name. How to keep Coke's brand equity in the name? This is a question. Some options: sugar-free. The name was considered too critical for original Coke key ingredients. Light. Competitors already used it. So they were trying to see how they can incorporate Coke into the conversation. I think I will explain that. Okay, let's keep reading. While lowercase d, this is after they have not decided, the final choice Diet with a lowercase d. Why? 2 reasons. Executives wanted to de-emphasize Diet versus Coke. Capital D was a noun, which should have conflicted with the Coke trademark. Lowercase Diet is an adjective and no conflict. Diet Coke launched campaign in 1982 didn't emphasize diet, rather it emphasized taste, right? So DC, that's Diet Coke, was smoother because it had less phosphoric acid, the motto, just for the taste of it. That was the secret. Also, compared to Tab, which targeted the female demographic, Diet Coke had neutral branding. You can see from the picture here. Unlike the first branding it had before, all right? You can see there was a big target to the female market, but now because they had to be neutral, the branding changed. So just for the taste of it was their motto, right? So by the end of 1983, Diet Coke was the most successful diet beverage on the market. It was the fourth best-selling brand in the beverage category after Coca-Cola. Fourth, after Coca-Cola itself, which was number one, Pepsi, 7-Up, two different brands. So it was not number four. Imagine two different brands in the top four of the best-selling beverage in the world. In 2020, Coca-Cola discontinued Tab. Come back and explain that. Fun fact, Diet Coke is less dense than regular Coke, so its fruit in water both contain the same amount of liquid, but Diet Coke requires less sweetener to flavor the drink versus Coke, which has more comparable sugar, hence more dense. Okay, so here's the patriotic display here. Coca-Cola executives were concerned that all the brand equity that built in the name would be lost if Tab became its biggest moneymaker. Remember, Tab was growing 3 times faster than every other category that Coca-Cola was producing, which meant that Tab itself was almost like a deviation from the company's name. And that name was the name was the value of the organization. And you see that the executives were committed and patriotic to keeping and sustaining the brand equity that they have built over the years using the word Coca-Cola. And that's why they had to go to research, and after so much deliberation, they arrived at using the word diet with the word Coke while keeping the equity they have built over the years. So just imagine there was no desire for patriotism towards keeping this brand equity. The commitment, the loyalty, and the desire to sustain the brand. That have gone ahead have been called Tab, and maybe at the end of the day, the Coke brand would have died a long time ago. So this is a clear display of patriotism. It can be replicated in our personal life, in our business too. And another fantastic show of patriotism is here again. And sorry, I think that was not necessary. Okay, here it is. So Jake Bro reported and said it's always worth reminding most fanboys that these are the brilliant men who founded Tesla. Elon was just a Series A investor who bought in, then sabotaged the company enough until this man will push that. I talked about some threads being very, very false. And if you don't carry out your research, you end up buying the false narrative, which is very, very wrong. So someone called out Jake Bro and said, this is so misleading. Elon Musk invested nearly all of the Series A round. At that point, Tesla was just a name and 3 guys with no money who registered the company 6 months earlier. Okay, Elon agreed to that and said, more importantly, I was head of product and led the design of the original Roadster. Ebenhard was wealthy and could have risked his money, but was unwilling to do so. So Art Center College of Design gave me an honorary degree for my work on the original Tesla. Was also due to me that we got trademark to use Tesla Motors as initial name and later obtain Tesla.com. If I may ask you, where is the patriotism here? Here it is. In some ways, Elon Musk invested nearly all of the Series A round. At that point, Tesla was just a name and 3 guys with no money. So, this is a brand that's a very promising brand that had a very, very fantastic picture of the future, like electric vehicles. Then one of their executive, who happens to be just the product and the lead designer, not even the senior executive in this case, did not throw patriotism off the window. But because of his patriotic tendency towards the brand, the visions, and the goals of these organizations, he went ahead and invested heavily in this. He didn't stop there. He designed and played his part as a product designer, designed the very first and original Roadster. That's one of the brand of Tesla. Aside doing that, he also went ahead and got trademark for the brand and obtained the URL. You see, the importance of patriotism cannot in any way be overemphasized. Not in any way overemphasized. If you want to succeed as an organization, I've talked about 2 different brands now. The Coca-Cola brand, that's the Diet Coke, and Tesla itself, the brand owned by Elon Musk. You can see and admit and believe that today these brands are very successful brands. And I'm very certain they won't get there without the show of patriotism. And that is basically my lesson for the week, and I hope it hits in. So, Amazing. What's the next item on the list here? Okay. So any leadership related trends, and of course they are. I think I'll just share one. I took screenshots. And of course, you should know by now it concerns Elon Musk again. And here is what happened. Let's go down. Elon reportedly sent this email to Tesla employees: avoid large meetings. One, I think you want to read that up. Number two, leave a meeting if you are not contributing. So, number three, forget the chain of command. Communicate with colleagues directly. 3. Number 4, be clear, not clever. Ditch frequent meetings. Use common sense. And the most, I think they said correct, a very good trade. I would have gone ahead to read this. I think I should. Let's dissect it one after the other. So the first one, he said, avoid large meetings. Large meetings waste valuable time and energy. This was sent out as an email to all Tesla employees, Elon Musk himself. And you can be wondering why this brand is doing fantastically well. He said large meetings waste valuable time and energy. They discourage debates. People are more guarded than open. And there's not enough time for everyone to contribute. Don't schedule large meetings unless you are setting the provide value for everyone. So if I may ask, where's the lie there? You can all recall and know very well that, in fact, from your experience, for those working for brands and even working in small businesses, like big brands and small businesses, that convening large meetings does not necessarily end up producing value. You just have a few people talking and others just consenting and saying, yeah, we agree. I think it's more popular in Zoom meetings during the heat of the pandemic, and Zoom meetings is here, and you have tens to hundreds of people attending meetings, and everybody is meeting them. Like some are sleeping, they are not even paying attention because they're like, why am I here? So this is what Elon is trying to drive at, that large meetings discourage debates. People are very more guarded, and that's very true. And there is not enough time for everyone to contribute. You cannot imagine spending 10 hours in meetings, or the back and forth will even make you forget what you discussed initially. So I think that's the lesson we need to incorporate in our brand and even our life as an individual. So it's a leave a meeting if you are not contributing. If a meeting does not require your input, valid decisions, your presence is useless, and that is true. We all have 24 hours a day, 24 freaking hours a day. Nobody has more, nobody has less. So imagine you are spending just limited time of yours in a meeting where you are not contributing, like you have nothing to contribute. You are not just wasting your time; you are wasting the time resources of the brand you're working for. Could have been using that time doing something more productive. But here you are stuck in a meeting where you have no input, no value, and no decision. And of course, it is rude to waste not just people's time, but your time. All right, this is a key point we need to take into consideration, of course, and apply in full. The third one is forget the chain of command. Communicate with colleagues directly, not through supervisors or managers. Fast communicators make fast decisions, and fast decision is equal to competitive advantage. I remember back then at Sabi Hub in Benin, I was selected for one accelerator program. One of the facilitator, a very, very amazing business consultant, is currently in Canada now. I think his name of his brand should be Value something like that. That's the name of his brand. He said something, he said, the business space is a space of dog eat dog. Like the competition is very, very high because we are all fighting, these brands, they are all fighting for a limited amount of customers with their very product. So if any organization is lagging behind wasting their resources, they are giving room for the other brand to take advantage of the market, that's the customer base, and pull out profits, leaving very small and should I say, a very, very small crumbs. That should work. Leaving crumbs for, I think that's technology, leaving crumbs for the other brand that have wasted their time. So he is not saying here from this statement that you should forget chain of command. You want work done, you want to talk, you want, let's assume you have a technical issue in your department. Instead of going and be looking for the head in the technical department, go directly to the person that will serve you. And I know it is quite easy to say this, and it's more difficult, especially if you run an organization, if you run or work in an organization where you must pass through people before you get served within the organization, not talk of outside the organization. So this particular point should be incorporated by executives, so that even when subordinates are making use of this strategy. They do not come and and be a blockade or act as bottleneck to getting these things to getting the desired result. Okay, so what I'm basically seeing is that everybody from the top to the bottom in the leadership cadre should ensure that this third point is made use of in any brand organization. Because at the end of the day, you need fast decisions, and fast decision, as Elon said, equals competitive advantage. In fact, gives you a very big advantage in the competitive market. So the fourth point here is be clear, not clever. There's no time to be speaking big English. So avoid nonsense words. I think that was a bit harsh and technical jargon, right? It slows down communication. Choose words that are concise, to the point, easy to understand. Don't sound smart. Be efficient. Wow. I think that explains itself. So the fifth point here is ditch frequent meetings. There is no better way to waste everyone's time. Use meetings to collaborate, to attack issues head on, solve urgent problems. But once you resolve the issue, frequent meetings are no longer necessary. What he's saying here is that there is no point organizing a fixed meeting like for instance, some brand an organization was saying every morning by 7 o'clock we must meet and just meet for the sake of meeting. Sometimes you don't have anything to just say. Sometimes they say that every Friday at the end of the week we must meet, just meet. But if you are not meeting to collaborate, if you are not meeting to attack issues head on, if you are not meeting to solve urgent problems, then the meeting is useless. Avoid it. And that's what Elon Musk said, and I hope you take it. So he said you can resolve most issues without a meeting. That's true. Instead of meeting, send text. Send an email, communicate on Discord or Slack. These are tech tools you can use. Don't interrupt your team's workflow if it's unnecessary. So what he's saying here is that you should, instead of calling for meetings, go ahead and fix it. Hey, get this done. I want to get this done. As simple as possible. Hope you get my point there. Then use common sense. If a company rule does not make sense, contribute to progress, apply to your specific situation. Avoid following the rule with your eyes closed. Don't follow rules. Follow principles. This is quite tough, but the end result is massive. I hope you take it. So these are basically, the trends for the week. And my opinions, I hope they are solid enough to convince you to make use of them. And of course, don't forget to do your own research before applying. I hope you come back with testimonies. So what do you think? For me, the best leadership performers, individuals or brands for the week and lessons learned, it is quite easier to take Elon Musk because Twitter has been operating for five weeks despite the whole naysayers discussion and a prediction of the fall of Twitter. They have increased massively. Like the number of daily usage, in fact, the even number of users has skyrocketed. I think that is I think whatever Elon is doing amazing work, and I hope it lasts long. We should all keep an eye on that. And for me, Elon Musk at the moment is the best leadership performer for the weekend. I'm very certain he will remain there because of the whole strategies and the opponents he's using to run the organization. That's Twitter, Tesla, and SpaceX is very, very open. And direct. I think that's the best way to run a brand and even to run a life. Then who are the poor leadership performance? It is very easy to pick out a poor leadership performer. Okay. So there's a brand I don't want to mention their name now. They performed very poorly. I saw what they did in terms to how their operations in the Black Friday offers. I can't really tell how their finances went, but the strategies they employed was really, really poor. So this is me sharing this with you now. If you want to take advantage of the festive periods and bring it down offers, okay, what you do basically is to start sensitizing and giving information because the market is competitive. Okay, so as a business owner, you have to be coming in. You have to be more your insight, and that's where leadership comes in as a person. The insight and foresight you need to drive the result you desire. You have to come in a month earlier if you don't even do that, how about copy successful brands that be doing it over and over and see what they do, how often they do it, the intensity of their doings. Okay, so I think that is basically, just give an example, the poor leadership performance, the brand, don't want to mention the name, and I hope we'll take lessons from that. So Elon Musk is likely to remain there, and for this brand, of course, they're likely to bounce back too, judging from how they are taking serious, how they have converted the energy that was, let's say, that was not productive for the Black Friday movement, converted into the December sales. So I'm very certain they'll bounce back from their loss. And so basically, that will be it for tonight's session on leadership. And it is an amazing moment that I've shared with you all tonight. And I hope you've learned something. And thank you so much for being with us as the More Leadership podcast. So that reminds me, at the Samuel Brown brand, we have freemiums which we share on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Podcast anyway. The Money Market on Mondays is basically for investments, talk about crypto, forex, the stocks and bonds, and we are looking forward to incorporating the betting into it, because at the moment I think that there is a big shake in the NFT sector. But we are yet to decide on that anyway. And for Wednesdays, the Money Leadership podcast, just like we have today. And on Fridays, the money business. So we'll talk about business structures and marketing. And it has been an amazing moment doing this. We have premium products, okay? For these three premium products that you have experienced and you're currently enjoying, they actually break down into premium products. For the money market, we have an academy that shows and guide people on how to operate in the money market sector, from crypto to forex to stocks and bond, and even NFTs and betting too. So all you have to do is to go to the comment section and write, "I am interested," okay, and we'll send you a link on how to join. Likewise, for the money leadership, we have an academy that shows people how to lead, and how to lead when they don't have this money, how to lead when they have the money, how to lead when they don't even need it. And definitely, we also share leadership reviews per week. These are very, very timely reviews that help you, to strategize and make very, very legendary decisions, like high-level decisions that take your brands from where it is currently to a higher level. And for the money business, we have an academy for it too. And what we do basically in that academy is to bring in experts, okay, and of course give you reviews too for the week around business structures and marketing. But a structured business is as good as it is, but it needs an efficient marketing strategies to maximize what they have. But some brands can have very good marketing strategies, but they have very poor structures, and these two actually cohabit. That is where we come in, helping you maximize and these particular two sectors of your business, so you can drag in more profits. As the day goes by and as you engage in business every single day. So those are our premiums. But before then, you can be enjoying the premiums at the moment. I think they are equal as solid as the premiums. So just that the premiums will hold your hand and ensure you get the result you actually desire. That being said, we have 5 massive products too at the SHSC brand. We help you start your business from scratch and help you take it across borders. These are the 5 products. First, we help you register your business legally so I can operate within the legal framework of the nation. And that's how we do business registration for brand name. Even for NGOs, we do that too. We help you get your business plan. NGOs need business plans too, okay? Business plan is more of like a blueprint that shows you and your business. It's just like it's a documented blueprint that shows why your business is existing, first of all, where it's going and how to get there. So most time you get lost when life happens and you may be making wrong decisions. But if you have a blueprint of that, all you have to do is to go back and be back on track. We help you get that document as fast as possible. So we also consult for you for trainings for your staff on general business needs. You can reach out to we are also into the travel industry, for tourism, for study, for business growth, and definitely you need the document for that, and that is how we come in for the international passport processing. So we look forward to hearing from you to patronize us on these different services. And that being said, I think we'll call it a night or a day, as the case may be, for now. So shout out to everyone at the SAGC brand. Thank you so much. Shout out to our fans. Shout out to everyone listening. You all are amazing. Without you, I won't be doing this. Thank you so much. I look forward to next week review. And I hope you put these particular lessons to good use. Do your research, of course. Do not forget to do that. Do your research and definitely do it to subscribe. Right? Go down, subscribe to our channel, like and share. Comment to what you learned today. Comment. All right. Do not forget to comment. Okay, guys. So see you next week. All right. Here's me saying peace out. See you next week.